Beautiful. Here we are again. I am so delighted to bring back Peter Koenig. We are going to have an amazing conversation. We decided to join up again because we recorded our first video together. We talked about money, the energy of money, how it correlates to our own inner working, our own mindset, and what we believe about money. And it was such an enlightening conversation that I just had to have Peter back. Peter, thank you so much for joining me for round two.
Well, it's an absolute pleasure, Dallisa. And I remember when we finished, I think you decided to invite me back because what I said right at the end was that the work I've been doing with money up to now has been to help people to do what they love, respond to their calling, and have a full life. And if I remember, what I said right at the end was that if you don't live a full life, you're not good. Something like you won't enjoy your death very much. And if you're doing a gamble that life will be better on the other side after you're dead, I was saying, I don't think that's a very good gamble, something like that, or at least I don't gamble that way.
Yeah, of course, my ears perked up and I thought, oh, we got to have another conversation about life and death and what you believe about that. So I've got a couple questions lined up, but Peter, I just love the work that you do and our initial conversation. And I just want to let everybody know I'm including that link, that first video in the comment section of the description of the video. So everyone can go and watch that, because if anyone's thinking they're broke, they're in scarcity mindset, or they feel just misaligned, or they have a misunderstanding about money, that would be a great video to watch in addition to this one. So let's dive right in. So Peter, I want to ask you, why do you think we're having this human experience? Why do you think we incarnated and came into these human bodies? Like, what is the purpose of being here?
Oh my goodness, that's a really big question.
Come out swinging, okay?
Okay, I mean, if the answer is to have fun, it doesn't look as if there's much fun happening right now on the planet. You know, one could have a very esoteric answer to say that, you know, we're all souls and we come here to do some learning, and our life experience is about advancing our soul, advance and become more developed souls. But that seems a very intellectual kind of answer. The real truth is, for me, I mean, I really don't have a clue. Why? I mean,
why do you, Peter? Why do you think you came here?
Well, in terms of my personal purpose, what I figured out, you know, in my 30s, was that I felt called, but I was already here feeling called to do something to improve the lot of humankind. You could say that in terms of relationship to money, in terms of the way I'd been educated up to that point, and felt the need to do something about the way our economy worked. And I saw people weren't having fun working and seeing the relationship with money, and being given some insights or receiving some insights on this, and feeling the need to share these insights, and to the degree that I could, help people to have more fun and enjoy their lives and do what they love at work, as well as in their lives in general. But if you'd asked me earlier than my 30s, you know, is that what I was here to do? I mean, that wouldn't have made any sense to me at that time, or what my life was about, or why I was here. I never gave it really any thought. And I think most people don't give that very much thought. The majority probably don't. They come and they live and they die, and that's it.
Yeah. Do you think everyone has a life purpose?
Potentially, I really believe so. I believe, or let's put it this way, you could ask, does every creature, does every tree, does every animal have a life purpose? We could say yes, we could say no, but it seems to make sense to say yes for us as humans. It seems to give some kind of motivation, meaning to what we're doing, then which may be necessary. Maybe it's not necessary, actually. Maybe you can have a very happy life without a purpose and without a meaning. And who knows, maybe it could even be a better life. But certainly in our Western society right now, with our Western education, it seems to be helpful in terms of where we've come with our evolution right now, to at some point be looking at your calling, at your purpose, to be able to move beyond the way we have society structured. I'd answer it in that way.
Mm-hmm. I'm already sitting here thinking about things that you've said in the first few minutes that I think you could go down so many threads or rabbit holes with some of the things you've already mentioned, which I love because it gives me something to really consider and sit with, as well as the people who are watching this interview. So as you mentioned at the conclusion of our first discussion together, something to the effect of maybe do your inner work, do your inner healing, because death may not be as jubilant as you may hope it is. Can you explain what you meant by that?
Well, as I say, I'm a kind of gambling man. So it's like looking at the gamble of life, death, and beyond. And I think, the Christian religion, or the way I was taught the Christian religion, and I think many people still are, is that you should live a kind of obedient life following certain commandments. And then if you do, you'll go to heaven. And if you don't, you'll go to hell and after death. And I've always sort of put that a bit in question, though I understand the reasoning probably at that time when these things were written or sort of put out for that. But my gamble, if you like, has been that actually if you live your life with your calling, like you'll go smoothly into death. It's like there'll be and if there is a life after, it'll just be a nice continuation. But that requires us to live life fully. So to have a good life, and I talk about it being a good life and then a good death, and that the gamble is then you just continue smoothly. Because and what I'm suggesting is that if you're not living life fully, if you think that dying will be a salvation, and then to the degree that you've been obedient, it might be better on the other side. There, I'm uncertain that will pay off. So the encouragement is to actually live life here as fully as possible, which for me is actually kind of listening to the little voice within, as a lady in a community in Scotland called Finhorn, called Eileen Caddy, called listening to the little voice within and following that calling as best you can. So that's my sort of probably reasonable take on your question. I don't know if it's really sufficient, but it's as far as I can go.
I just love that we're showing up and having this conversation about life purpose and doing the work while you're here, and what happens, when you cross over to the other side. As you mentioned, if there is another side to this, I've personally studied near-death experiences for quite a bit of time, and people that go through that experience and then come back into their human body, and many of them changed for the rest of their life based on that experience. I had a pediatrician, my pediatrician in the Seattle area growing up. He was the leading expert on near-death experiences in children. And then I went to the university in Las Vegas, UNLV, and I actually studied under Dr. Raymond Moody, who's one of the world's leading experts on near-death experiences.
Yes.
I was able to train with him for a semester, which was incredible. So I've always been fascinated about, what happens when we cross over. And one thing that I feel that's come to me through different classes and working with all these clients all over the world, and hearing their experiences and being near people that have passed away that they're standing next to, and they feel like even a transfer of energy in the room when somebody's passing. There's so many things that have happened that I feel I don't have any doubt that we go beyond, and even doing mediumship and communicating with people who have died that come back to have, say a message. I've had too many experiences to know that I don't personally have any doubt about it, but I also don't have a tremendous amount of detail as to what is it like when you're walking through the meadow on the other side, or going into the classroom or the Hall of Records or anything like that. I've had glimpses of it, which have been extraordinary, but I'm still learning and growing and letting it evolve. One thing that has been an underlying similarity amongst a lot of people who've had near-death experiences is that they talk about going to the other side, and there's almost like a wall, a projection out in front of them that is their life review. And it's all of the things that they did in this lifetime flashing in front of them again. And I've heard some people describe it as they then feel each situation again that they just had in their lifetime, but through the lens, the viewpoint of the other person or people involved. So they're seeing it as more of like a 360 degree, circle around what their words, their actions created for other people as part of a learning tool and like orientation back to the other side. So I think that hearing these stories are quite fascinating, just in my opinion.
Well, what that brings up in me, I think I should be interviewing you. You should, instead of the other way around. But what that brings up in me is actually the reminder of the so-called golden rule. Do unto others as you would have done to yourself, or even the platinum. I heard the platinum rule. You know the platinum rule?
I've heard of it. Treat other people as they want to be treated.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But what you said. Put me
on the spot, Peter. I'm glad I remembered that. You put me on the spot.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's so much to talk about. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm just saying yes. But what you said, actually, you slip into the other person's shoes and the other side, you're saying. So that reinforces very strongly the golden rule, of course. So, yeah, fascinating.
It definitely is. Some spirits that I've done mediumship with, they've talked about when they come through and give messages to my client. Sometimes they'll show me like where they're sitting or what they're doing on the other side. Sometimes they're in a classroom, quite literally, learning lessons that they didn't quite get or do while they were in their human body. So there's still an extension of the learning opportunity, because I think this is Earth School. And Earth School is one of the hardest schools you can sign up for. And it's not for the faint of heart. And we're going to see that obviously in the next few years, most definitely. And I think it's part of our evolution, and it's all just so incredible. And I see miracles so often that I hope that, you know, for the rest of my life, I still have curiosity and awe about the things that I'm able to experience. So I'm going to ask you about reincarnation. What's your view on it? Do you think that we come back? Do you think that we could be a tree or a cat or a dog in another lifetime? Like, what's your thought on reincarnation?
Well, I like to believe in it. Let me put it that way. But I'm not so set on it. So I have friends who don't believe in it at all. And I can have good conversations with them too. I'm really interested, to tell you the truth, I'm really interested in the so many different views on life, so many different perspectives, and seeing, and very practical, what's useful in each perspective. But generally speaking, the notion of reincarnation speaks to me. And I sometimes say, as a joke, but more than a joke, you know, I'm now 75. So I'm looking at nice young ladies as potential mothers. so seeking, you know, where would be some good parents around for a next incarnation. So as you see, I'm a gambling man, taking my bets long term. So, but yes, it somehow makes sense to me. And of course, you know, you have a large part of the world, I think, believing in reincarnation. Probably more people in the world with their particular religions are believing in reincarnation than not. So that's kind of where I am with the subject. It's like I do believe that our beliefs are also created by ourselves.
Explain that.
So I believe, you know, this is like a carry-on from our last video, if you like. Yeah. That our beliefs come through projections from our mind. So our truths individually, but then also collectively in our groups, are formed the same way. And not believing in any absolute truth, you know, and that's a belief too, but I think even normal science doesn't believe in any absolute truth. I find it helpful to be able to look at the consequences. Well, if I believe in reincarnation, what does this mean for my life and how useful is it? And see that this is just made up. It's actually ultimately made up. And then the kind of experiences that you're describing would actually reinforce my belief if I believe in reincarnation. At the same time, if I don't believe in reincarnation, I will have a whole different set of circumstances in my life which will reinforce my non-belief, if you like, or my belief in non-belief. And so I'm, if you like, rather pragmatic and practical about this, seeing, well, what is the most useful and what will give the best life? And at the moment, I would say, I think for me personally, and I can only speak for myself, believing in reincarnation is a good thing. Mm-hmm. But as I say, if I found at a certain moment that it might not be, I think I feel free enough to be able to switch my perspective. If I felt, because I've done this in the past. I've done this in the past with other with other beliefs that I've had, which I switched from, and I found useful, but I'm not really so radically set, rigidly set on my own set of beliefs. I think that's the best way I can answer this.
Yeah, that makes sense. And it's also very freeing and liberating because you've given yourself permission to just change your mind if you want to change your mind.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So I have had a couple of reincarnation experiences, both in a group setting and one-on-one, and in hypnosis. And it was really fascinating. So I've seen several of my past lives. One was a little boy in Egypt, and I could feel my back leaning up against the pyramid when I was under hypnosis. And then I was in a group situation where I was actually hovering above my body, and I could see myself. I knew it was me lying in a bed in a hospital in Mexico. And I had just died during childbirth, and I could see that it was me, and I had just died. And then I could see my husband standing next to me. And it was peculiar because I came out of that one, and the gentleman wanted to know, what were some of the experiences if people wanted to share. And I shared that story. He's like, so have you ever had kids? And I said, no, I never have. And he's like, you might want to journal, meditate, consider, if that was such a hardship for you and your family and what you left behind in that lifetime, could it be correlated to choices you've made in other lifetimes? So I just thought I would share that because I love learning. I love hearing people's stories and having different experiences and really just trying to be a student of Earth.
Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I mean, such experiences are very, very convincing, of course, and very deep and meaningful. Yeah.
Yes. Well, I love that we got together again, Peter, and talked about life purpose, why we're here, doing the work now before we cross over to the other side, and just having just an open, honest conversations about where we're at with the big question about life. And I encourage everybody watching this interview, if you could drop a comment and let us know, what are your thoughts on life purpose? What happens when we cross over? Do you believe in reincarnation? So drop a comment on the video and let us know your thoughts. We would love to hear from you. Peter, I'm going to include your links in the description of this video as well. So everybody watching, if you want to check out Peter's work, I've got the links included in the description below. And I've also dropped in there the link to our first discussion about the energy of money and scarcity and how our mindset and our beliefs really do matter. Peter Koenig, thank you so much for being a part of today's chat. And I hope we get to do it again soon.
A pleasure again. My pleasure again, Dallisa. Thank you so much. Time has just flown. It feels like 5 minutes, not like half an hour. But thank you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Stay well in Switzerland. Okay, until next time.
Till next time.